What is going on, guys? It's JJ here back with another video. And in today's video, we will be talking about, my first impressions of this season. How do I think it's going, and how do I think it's gonna go? So far from everything that we know, and I think that this one is an interesting one. So let's get right to it. This season dropped on Thursday, March 19th. I made a video about how a lot of fans are criticizing this season, but it's a bit complicated because I don't think that this season deserves this much hate that it's getting. It's not getting a ton of hate, but it's getting a decent amount of hate, and we need to talk about that in today's video. So I personally think that starting off with like the loophole, basically every single item was refreshed. The loophole got almost a full reset. I'm pretty sure the only weapons that weren't faulted were the iron pump and the twin hammer. So I think those were the only two weapons that weren't faulted. So yeah. And the loophole, um, I think it's all right. It's pretty balanced, because, Ted Simmons and Epic Games before he said that there would be a lot more wacky weapons, and I thought that maybe these Batman balanced weapons. But that hasn't, been the case. Hasn't necessarily been the case. I think the weapons are very balanced. I don't think any of them need a nerf or a buff. Maybe the new reloading shotgun. Maybe it could use a little bit of a nerf. It's a little too powerful, especially the mythic one. The mythic one is absolutely ridiculous, and it's two shots. So yeah, I figured we got into all of that ammo in today's video. So if you do enjoy this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below which side you chose and what you're most excited about this season based on your sleep. Let's get on with it. Let's start with some parts that are frustrating with this season. So, Ted Simmons and Epic Games employees said that we will be getting some wacky weapons this season because, season one was like a back to the basics type thing, and it was definitely necessary for a refresh. But they played it a little too safe, so there will be a lot more wacky weapons in season two. I'm really just glad that they focused on gunplay rather than just screwing it up with katanas and melee weapons. They actually made something decent out of it. So I think that in the basics, this season is good. The loophole is balanced. The weapons are good. There's some wacky weapons. I like it. I think it's pretty balanced. But that sounds okay. I completely changed the topic. So let's talk about the frustrating parts. He said there would be wacky weapons. Great. And where exactly are they? It has been revealed that behind the showdown time, that is where we'll be getting all of the weapons. So you can't even experience all the weapons until you actually complete the showdown time. It's a little bit ridiculous, I will say. It's honestly not a good change. They should just put all the new stuff and not some with like they should have thought of something. Like at least have half of the stuff that you're gonna put in the showdown to the actual game. It makes a lot of sense. But then you're just hiding everything behind this. I think it has really disappointed a lot of people, including so yeah, I do think that is a frustrating part in this season. Wow. So yeah, man. And also, the debuff changed and not enough new content. I feel like a lot of the items are reskinned, like items we kinda had before. I get it, it's a little frustrating. It's a lot of unquals. And that's a video that I didn't, that's something that I didn't talk about in the, just where everybody was complaining the video I made on that. So yeah, it's something I did not talk about, and it's just not enough new weapons. I feel like it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it needs more. I feel like it's not quite. And they will eventually fix this problem. Once all their showdown items unlock. And I like it, right? I like it. Now let's get to the good part of the season. So map. The map is decent. I like all the changes equally. I mean, if we look at the map right now, you can see it's a pretty good map. We got Squiggly Shores replacing Bumpy. Um, so you got Frigid Fortress, and you got New Sanctuary, Dark Dominion. No, I don't like about this is that two of these POIs are just reskins, Dark Dominion and New Sanctuary. You can make an argument that they're basically the same thing. Well, Dark Dominion is like full revamped, and his base is definitely better than what the seven got going on over here. But yeah, I feel like they should have definitely made more changes. I think they should have definitely gotten rid of either Humble Hills, Sus Studios, or Latte Landing. Definitely weren't a fan of those POIs, nor Four Fields because they just didn't have loot in them. And I wasn't a fan of Painted Palms either. The problem with this map is that there's not enough loot. I don't think there is enough loot in this map. And I just feel like it's really limited the loot you could get. Like the most loot you get is at Frigid Fortress, but that is obviously a hot shot because that's where the Ice King is. Or eventually drop the Ice Gauntlets, and it's kind of underwhelming the map. I thought they were gonna do more to it. I was hoping Humble Hills would be replaced, but I mean, it wouldn't make sense next to Squiggly Shores. I guess that could. And neither would Latte Landing nor Sus Studios, so I guess they have reasons now to change these POIs. Maybe they wanted to, but they just couldn't. Maybe they could have changed Battlewood Boulevard, but then again, this POI was the most dropped at in season one. This POI was pretty decent. I liked it. I think this POI was pretty good. I liked it. And yeah, Squibbly Shore is definitely a good POI. I give this POI a 9 out of 10. Dark Dominion, the transformation, it truly feels like a villain's base, with the little autumn biome in the middle. You got the sand here too. Dark Dominion is a 10 out of 10. Same goes with Frigid Fortress. This is the best POI we've seen in a long time. This is so big. Look how big it is. This is where you get in, and this is a castle. The castle is massive. I love the ice biome. Everything here is just awesome. Frigid Fortress. New Sanctuary. This is easily the worst change of all of them. The New Sanctuary is basically the same thing, but then again, Dark Dominion is. I'll give this POI 7 out of 10, same as Classified Canyon. So there's not too much else to talk about. There's been a lot of sweats, maybe because it's the start of the season, but they promise a lot more content, but it's locked behind this. There are also some problems with the rivalry system. I figured like the rivalry system is kind of is kind of it forces you to get a certain amount of rivalry wins. For example, if you want the mythic man, not only do you have to get rivalry credits, but you also have to you know get a certain amount of rivalry wins, and that is 60. I am barely at like 17 right now. that's gonna take a little bit. I do agree with that complaint with the rivalry system. Some people are saying that the rivalry system is just like the bounty system, but you have to remember that the bounty system was useless. They gave you gold. That's useless. It was useless. Let's be honest, guys. Gold. Ever since it came in, it was cool and all, but let's be honest. After one season, it became pretty like useless. But now they've upped its use. I heard that a lot of people were not happy with the change of gold not stacking. I was actually really happy about it because you got it. Like you have to buy the items now and you don't have to make a choice. And I feel like that's good. They double the amount you get. And I really liked that. So the rivalry system has a few holes, but overall, I think the rivalry system is really carrying this season, and the way where it really feels like a war season, like it feels like a real showdown. Another problem, I talked about this, and all the problems with season two. You know, the V-Bucks, of course, people keep protesting, and I'm gonna talk about it in probably every single video because it is a problem and it will affect my season review at the end of the season. I know we're only like 3 days into the season, but it will affect my season review. Yes, you heard that right. It will affect my season review. Thank you all so much for making it to the end of the video. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe. Drop a comment down below which team you chose and which team you think will win. If you're excited for all of these weapons, I am so excited for future updates for these weapons to get added. So, thank you for making it to the end. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.